We're off for a bit of an adventure today. Where we are at the moment is we're in Young. Now, a lot of people might know Young as the cherry capital of New South Wales, but Young has history with gold, and where I've pulled up is an area that the Chinese worked and where we had some quite large riots. So I'll just quickly show you the sign. So Blackguard Gully. And so they found 80 ounces off the bottom of a shaft here, which led to a bit of a gold rush. And then 2 weeks after, they started having riots. So the European miners were rather upset that the Chinese were getting such good gold here. And riots began, and they started chasing the Chinese off the area. And the Chinese actually left the area and they went and lived on the outskirts of town. I can't remember the name of the property off the top of my head, but it was quite a large riots that happened here. Now, if I had a bit more time, because I haven't got a lot of time to spend here today, I might go for a bit of a walk and just have a look around. I'm actually heading to Adelong next. I'm going to meet up with a guy, Busted Knuckles Prospecting, and we might go down there and we'll do a bit of panning and crevicing down there. So we'll just have a real quick look around here and then I'll hit the road again and make my way to Adelong. But one day I'm going to come back here and I'm going to spend a bit of time, probably a whole day here, and just see if I can find a few colours. So, alright, I'll go for a quick walk and see what we can see.
Oh yeah, one piece.
One bit?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of gold though. That's just off the edge of the path. Well, here we are. I've crossed the border and I'm down in Victoria. There's that bloke over there I'm sure you all recognise, and Grizzly. So I arrived here yesterday afternoon and me and Chris just spent a bit of good time sitting down and just talking. There was no video done yesterday of anything we got up to. It was just more about the mateship that Chris talks about. And that's a lot of what prospecting is about. When you go out with your friends and that, it's just that quality time you spend with people. What we did do is we went for a walk. Now, down here on the creek we're going to go down onto today, we actually went for a walk and we had a look at a little bit of a bedrock area. And we started working at, yes, Grizzly, it's a rock. We started working a little area where there's just a little crevice. And we got some nice gold there. So we're going to go back down there now and just continue to work that and see if we can get some more out of it. Chris is hoping there's going to be some nuggets. He waved the detector over it yesterday and it didn't give off anything promising, but that's not to say that there could be something a little bit deeper down. Anywho, it's time to go. Grizzly's keen. You keen? He's keen. So we'll grab our gear and we'll head on down the creek. Chris is looking keen as ever.
I'm mugged up because I'm little. I weigh like 40 kilos when I'm wet, so I've got 4 layers on at the moment.
So we'll go down here, we'll start digging, that'll warm us up, and hopefully we'll get some nice gold to show you guys. Chris is happily working away there with his new favourite toy. And I'm just a little bit downstream. I'm sitting up on some bedrock here. I'm just working little pockets and cracks and just getting little tiny bits of gold. And when I'm saying little tiny bits of gold, this is not what I'm used to. I have not seen gold this fine in a pan before. And when I say it's ultra fine, you're probably not going to be able to see it on the video, but there would be at least 10 bits of gold here. There's 2 a little bit bigger that you will see, but they're all micro dots, virtually tiny little micro dots. And I was talking to Chris this morning about this ultra fine gold. You can just make out the little tiny dots. I'm shaking a little bit. Also, I was talking to Chris this morning about how much gold you lose each time you wash a pan. Now, every time you wash a pan, you're actually washing gold out of it. I know that's going to be really disheartening for some people to hear, but it is the truth. And when I say you're losing gold, it's gold that you can't see. It has been ground up that small, it is ultra fine. And you're panning, that ultra fine stuff goes out with the sands and gravels. So, it always begs the question, how much ultra fine gold is actually on a gold bearing stream? Lots and lots and lots, because eventually it all gets ground up to that ultra fine powder that you can barely see. Alright, well Chris is still happily chiseling away. He's hoping to get something of substantial size, and I reckon he'll get there. Might be a bullet, but that's substantial. I'll keep poking around here, and then after we've done a bit more work here, we might go for a wander and just see if we can find another spot to work, or if he keeps working there, I might go for a wander. I'll keep having a scratch around, see what else I can get. I've left the boys up there and I've just walked downstream a bit, and I'm actually standing on some bedrock here, and I'm just starting to work a little area there. Now I'll just turn you around and point you back up there, because during a flood, this is where the flood water is running, and it's starting to carve away this material that's sitting on the bedrock. So that's where the flood water is coming, and you can see that that's starting to carve away and exposing this bedrock. So I've just started working in there, barred some rock out of there. This is the third pan. The last pan I just got a little tiny picker, and in this pan I've got a little specie, which is now on a drop on my finger. You can see the gold stuck on either end of that little bit of rock. I've not ever come across this much fine gold before. So I'll do a bit more work in there. I'll clean that right out. Now I also found something else of interest. It's a really good area of bedrock, so I'm probably going to be able to spend the rest of the afternoon just going along and cleaning out all these crevices that have got a heap of material in it. But this bedrock here is fairly well clean, but there are tiny little cracks that have got material stuck in it. But what I wanted to show you was, found a long tom. That'd be about 8 foot long. And roughly 300 wide, maybe not quite, but yeah, be close to 300 wide. They've got timber riffles in it. You can see they've got hinges. They've obviously had a screen that flips over so that they wash the material there and all the coarse stuff. They just flip the screen and dump it. Hasn't been used in a while. It's got moss growing in it, so. Alright, I'm going to get back to doing some more crevicing. So there's plenty of areas of bedrock here. There's lots of little trappy spots. Like that. So this is probably where I'll spend the afternoon, just working over this. The other guys might come down and join me, but they seem pretty happy up there in the shade. So anyway, fingers crossed. What I'm aiming to do is just find one little nugget or a bigger picker than what I've got. The picker I've got, you can only just pick it up. Well, I can only just pick it up, but hopefully this is a sign of what I'm going to find on that. Alright, I'll get in, I'll do some more digging and see what we get.
Magic pay dirt. My magic wizard's hood. my picker.
Really?
Yeah, it's about as big as yours. Hold your hand. Oh no, there he is. It's a nice sharp bit too.
Oh my God! You've just got to be prove me better. Home ground advantage though.
This is not a competition, but I want to win.
Yeah, that's right. Prospectors, what do you do with them?
Lock them in the bush.
I'm down below Woolshed Falls, and this is where I'm going to camp for the night. And I just pulled up, and I just went and had a quick wash, which after 2 days, long overdue. The flies were really starting to like the way I was giving off an aroma. But anyway, so I've pulled up here, and somebody's been doing an awful lot of work here. Now, whether they've been running a high banker or a trommel, I'm not sure, but there's all their large stone. There's all the fine stuff. Now what they've done is they've walked away and they've left one of their tools here, so I've picked up a tool along with an empty glass bottle with a stubby cooler on it. So I got myself another little scratcher and a stubby cooler. Alright, well, I'm going to go and set up for the night. I'm just parked in over there. I've got a nice secluded camp spot for the night. Alright, get set up, cook some food, and then I'll be right relaxed for the afternoon. Tuesday morning. I got up, made myself a cup of coffee, just went for a bit of a wander. Now, I grabbed my camera and I walked downstream a bit. Then I was walking back up, I walked back up along the side of the hill. And up there on the side of the hill there is just a series of terraced areas. Now, every terraced area I walked onto, when I started looking around, I could see these old aqueducts or water races where they've channeled water from further upstream around onto these higher deposits. And they've had that water running around the hills and getting up high enough they could actually work it. You've seen there was a couple of pictures there. There's conglomerate rocks sitting on granite. So we've got a variety of different rocks out here and materials. But it's just amazing how much work them old timers did. And I'm just standing here where I virtually camped last night, and I'll just show you what they've done here in the bedrock to actually get a water race or an aqueduct down to where they were working. So there's a bit of a channel cut through the bedrock, and you can see that drill mark where they've drilled into the rock so they could bust it and get a channel through here. Another one just there. Corner of one there where they've drilled in. So they did a lot of work when they were chasing the gold here. Another drill mark down there. One there. That one's covered up with leaves. One there. And these fellas. When I first looked at it, I thought maybe what they were trying to do was actually lift the loose granite that was there so they could get underneath and work the material that was stuck underneath it. The more I walked downstream, and then when I come back up and looked, it's definitely where they've actually cut through the granite so they could get a water race down so they could work that material down lower. It's really quite easy to see. When you stand here and look back up, you can see that little channel they've cut through it. So, what I did yesterday afternoon after I had a quick tub in the creek is I grabbed the bucket and I went for a walk up and I just started working some crevices. Now Chris told me, he said there's plenty of gold here when you look in the right spot. Well, he's right. I did 2 crevices and probably near doubled what I got from yesterday morning when I was with Chris. So I came back, I grabbed the metal detector, the SDC out, and I went for a walk back up there. And there's a boil hole that's giving a nice good signal, and a couple of other crevices that are giving a nice soft signal. So it may still be rubbish in the bottom of it, it's just that the coil won't get down close enough to give a strong signal. So I'm just going to grab the tools, I'll grab the detector again, we'll go for a walk back up, and I'll just show you these areas before I work them and show you what comes out. So when you're looking at these old aqueducts and these water races that the old fellas put in, they had to build a dam across the stream to dam the water up to get it to run around these aqueducts or water races. So they always tried to pick an area in the stream, one that would actually give them enough altitude to get to the material they wanted to work further downstream, and 2, they always looked for an area that was going to be best to build a dam. Now, you might be there looking behind me now at this big area of granite, big flat area of granite. This is obviously an area they've gone, yep, this would be a great spot to build a dam. Hard bottom, can't go underneath the dam, and they've got a good way of actually propping the wall up. Now I'm just going to show you how they actually prop this wall up when they've built it here. That's a water race, they would have had a dam further upstream. But just here, there used to be a dam wall. And I know this because I actually started looking around and I found all the indicators of how they used to prop the wall up and shore it up. So there was a little boil hole, or there's a couple of little boil holes here. When you actually start looking, in the granite are these holes that have been drilled, and they've hammered in steel or iron. So what they would have been doing with that is the dam wall would have been over this side, and that that there was probably a brace that was running up to the back of the wall. They've hammered down a spike through the timber to brace that wall up. Now it's not just one. When you start looking, there's another hole there. One there. And you can almost follow the line. Well, not almost, you can follow the line where they've actually drilled all these holes to brace this damn wall up. And then when you get to the other side, the remains of the dam wall is still there, or part of it. Another steel spike hammered into the granite. Another steel spike hammered in. And then just here is the remains of the dam wall, where they've stacked the stone to create the wall. Try and get the sun off it. There you go. So with a little bit of looking around, you can actually make out where these old fellas have had these dams built to channel the water down to their lower deposits. Very pretty area. Very pretty area. Well, so far all the targets I've detected have been rubbish, which doesn't surprise me when you've got the amount of old workings here. There's always going to be the old relics and rubbish from the old timers. Bits of iron, bits of tin, bullets. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and just do a bit more crevice work. And that crevice that I worked yesterday where I near doubled the gold, I could stand up and I could actually see where I parked. That's how close it was. And all the way up here, I can see where people have been working, and they've walked past that crevice so many times. And that's what I was saying in Chris's video. The best tool you can have are your eyes. Always be looking around. Don't rush to an area and just go, yep, I'm going to dig there. Go there, spend half an hour, spend an hour just walking around. And don't look for the obvious. Look for things that people may just walk past, because that's where your gold's going to be sitting, that people just miss all the time. Alright, we'll go and do a bit more crevice work and see if we can get some more gold. Back at the spot where I was crevicing yesterday afternoon. I'll just take a few steps back and give you a better view of the area. So we've got this large, massive granite just there, and we've got this very clean bedrock that's looking downstream. So a lot of people have walked straight over this, be it for whatever reason. Could have been there was water there still. But you've got to keep thinking all the time about how gold travels in a stream. Now, when you get really flat bedrock like that, as the gold's coming down, it's bouncing up and down over rocks. It comes to a flat area, the gold will just naturally drop. So you think of it like a sluice. If there's nothing there to make the water rise up and down, the gold will just go to the bottom and just travel along the bottom flat. And the first thing it's going to find that it can drop into, it will. And that crevice is running at, roughly a 45-degree angle to the flow. So yesterday afternoon, I started working from there. I worked my way down to this little crack here, and that's where I stopped. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to continue going down this way. Now hopefully you can see that packed rock in the crevice. Bits of quartz. So I'm going to pry that out and see what else I can get from that area there.